whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're gonna hurt some people. Which car are we gonna take?
Well, look who decided to show the hell up. Good morning, all. Happy Friday. I am back. I have missed you all so very much. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I really do appreciate you. I hope Kim makes it. Maybe she overslept because she's been working her ass off, and I appreciate her so very much. I know I gave you guys a little recorded video yesterday with some of the topics I've just been dying to get off my chest because it's been the busiest week ever news-wise, right? We have a ton of stuff coming up today. You know who's going to be back on the show? Emily Hoven. She's with the San Francisco Chronicle. She's on the editorial board. We've been wanting to get her back on. We're going to be talking about a lot about California politics. She has some very strong feelings about the appointment of LaFonza Butler as Feinstein's replacement. So we'll get into that. Also, I want to get into Pamela Price. Have you guys been following? Okay, so you guys know I've been in San Francisco at my second job. So it's really interesting, hearing just the straight news report of all this and then just dying to get your guys' reaction. Alameda County DA Pamela Price. She's facing a recall. And she, you got to respect it a little bit. You really do. You got to respect her being like, you guys are just sour grapes, sore losers. And when we talked to Emily Hoven with the Chronicle about this, I want to ask her thoughts on it. But, on one hand, Pamela Price is right. On the other hand, you can't deny certain things. I think Pamela Price said something to the effect of, it's not as if the criminals are paying attention necessarily to incarceration rates and things like that. If they want to commit a crime, they're going to commit a crime. I don't know if that really holds up. So we will talk about that probably in about 30 minutes or so when Emily Hoven joins us. And I'm really interested to get Emily's take on it because it's an interesting kind of to come at a recall effort and be like, you know what, you guys are just sore losers. It's not going to placate those people. Damn well those people are going to be like, screw you. I don't like you. I don't think you're doing anything about crime. I want you out. So we'll see if this is the right tactic necessarily for the Alameda County DA to take. But again, Emily will join us in about a half an hour. I know you guys. I'm finally here. I appreciate it. The person that's been working her butt off, of course, is our friend Kim McAllister. Hello, my friend. I missed you.
Hi, I missed you too. For some reason, this time, I know sometimes you have to work, but this time seemed like particularly long.
Well, there was also so much news. Like I wanted to talk to you about it, and I'm sorry, guys. I hate being gone, but
I missed you more this time.
Do you know what today is? The anniversary of it is today.
What is today? October 6th. Oh, it's the day we got fired or laid off.
Day we got laid off. It's today. I didn't even realize it because my Facebook does the memories, and so this all came up. So yes, 1 year ago today, people. 1 year ago today, Mark was unceremoniously pulled from the plug. Kim and myself did our show. Yep. And then do you remember how optimistic I was? Do you remember I was like, it's fine. And all of you guys are like, I don't think this is a good thing. And I was like, no, we've gone through this so many times.
We'd received a message that like the day before that said there's an all hands meeting that morning. And we said, even if we're on the air, and they said yes. And we went, oh, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Right.
I because we had gone through so many of these, right? I mean,
Mhm.
I think I was justified in my naivete about the whole thing because we've done this. Okay, they're gonna change us up again. They totally pulled the plug on KGO. But I want to show a picture. Kim, can I show this picture real quick?
Yeah.
Oh, I miss Sherry. So
Oh,
that woman right there,
yeah.
next to me is Sherry, who was our producer, an amazing producer. I haven't talked to Sherry in a while.
Yeah.
Seeing this picture, I got to give her a call. Great team right there. I had so much fun
Yeah.
doing that show on
That was
KGO.
us at the old ship. We went out for drinks after in the
Mhm.
morning after we got canned.
Yeah, we were
Yep.
drinking wine at 9. I don't know. It was 10:30. It had to be like 10:30, right? 10:30 in the morning,
Oh.
11 o'clock. And it was, and that's what's really sad about this business is that's the place where everybody in radio goes when
Mhm.
they get laid off. Um,
Everyone's like, meet at the old ship. Yep, meet at the old
yep.
ship.
And everybody found us there. And it's mind-boggling that it's been a year. A freedom of speech took a hit, Meredith says. Yeah, rest in peace. Don't rest in peace. It's still freaking alive. I'm pissed every time. I've told you guys this before that there's like a ghost of KGO in my radio in my car. I have replaced the preset of 810 on my car radio. I'm not even lying, at least 8 times. And I don't know if it happens when my car gets turned off, all of a sudden it'll be back on. I'm not even kidding. And
Oh,
I go,
that's
I
weird.
don't want 810. Who the hell cares about the spread? Right? Like, no, I
Yeah.
don't need that on my car radio. But yeah, it's really, really interesting. But yeah,
That's funny.
it's a weird anniversary today. It sucks. But you know what? Let's talk about a better anniversary. You know what a better anniversary, at least for me, is, Kim? Sorry, not for you, but just for me. Today, the Fleet Week Airshows begin. If you're going to go to San Francisco, bring sunscreen and an umbrella because it's hotter than hell up there. But this is the anniversary of me riding the Blue Angels.
Oh, look at that.
So this was my time in Sacramento. This was when I was a reporter. Yeah, that was. I'll never forget.
You're such a little thrill seeker anyway. If they'd asked me to go up, I would have said, no, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so it was funny. I worked with this guy, Bob, okay, in Sacramento. I think it was Bob that said no. And he said it. He's like, I'm a dad. And was I? I wasn't a parent at that point. No, I don't think so. And he's like, no, I'm not going to do it. There's a risk of, it's dangerous, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'll go. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal, Kim, at all. I was really kind of stupid and like just being like, it's a plane. Like that's all I thought of. They're like, do you want to ride with the Blue Angels? I'm not even comprehending what the Blue Angels is when I said yes. I was like, sure, I'll go. And I remember our old boss and colleague, Drew Sanzer.
I would love him.
Who worked with us at KGO, but he was my boss in Sacramento at the time. And he's like, you want to go? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you have to fill out all this paperwork for the government and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. And I remember I went home and I was just talking to my parents about nothing. I was like, I got to fill out all this paperwork because I'm going to fly with the Blue Angels. And my dad's like, what? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, oh my God. And he's like, I was like, is it that big of a deal? And he's like, yes. And then like way on me. And then I'll never forget this guy. I tell this story every single time I talk about it. When I was at the airfield, getting ready to take off, there was this old man, like I'm talking 80s. He was all in his military garb. You could tell he kind of hangs out with all the guys at the military airfield. And he looks at me, he's like, I've always wanted to do that.
Oh,
and
wow.
I felt so bad. The only reason I'm going up is because I'm a reporter, right? Like that's the best thing about being a reporter, by the way, is you get to do really cool things here and there simply because they're either promoting something or they want to give people an inside look at something. And I got to go. And this guy that probably gave his life to the military never got his shot to go up with the Blue Angels, but it was pretty freaking cool. I will tell you that. It was really awesome. And I did not throw up or pass out. So I'm just letting you guys know. I did that hick maneuver, if anybody knows what that is, really well. And so I was able to
roll? Is that what a roll?
Oh, no. The hick maneuver is you have to contract your ab muscles to keep the blood above your waist, like by your heart, or you'll pass out because of the G forces. It pushes all of the blood down and you'll pass out. That's why people pass out. Oh. And so you do this hick maneuver as they're pulling the G's. Oh, no. I did so well. The freaking pilot gave me controls and we did barrel rolls. I did the
Are you kidding me?
Not even kidding.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
A couple of G's. It was amazing. So anyways, that's my Blue Angel story since Fleet Week starts today. It's something I do every year because I have literally the picture in my bedroom. Because I mean, come on.
It's an experience, right?
Oh yeah. And then it's funny because it's Lieutenant Dan. It was really, it was definitely one of those moments where I was
yesterday.
Very excited.
I was on the air with, if we say on the air anymore, I was on with John Daly for the after party, and he had his window open. He lives in San Francisco, and every so often the Blue Angels would come by, and it was so loud that you could hear it through the open window. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you love it or you hate it. You know what I mean? Like I know people, and I heard from people yesterday in San Francisco. They're like, I wish that the government shut down, grounded the planes because they just didn't want it. Their pets go crazy. They go crazy. I'm like, come on. I get the pet thing. Like I would hate that too. But if it's just you, either get out of town or just deal with it. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I remember living in Sac and during the air show, which is what those pictures were from. You know, they would fly so low. It was like you thought they were above your house. I think they changed the rules for how low they could fly because so many people were upset. But yeah, it was it's pretty cool. So go enjoy it. I don't think we'll be going to San Francisco for Fleet Week this weekend simply because I'm tired of driving to San Francisco. So I don't think I'm just going to do it on my day off. So
I might have to go.
Well, you're closer than me, I feel like.
It's true, but also last night, John Daly sent me video of the Navy brass band playing in, I forget what street they were on in San Francisco. And there were people dancing in the street. And then I looked at the schedule of events and they have the Marine Corps band, the Marine Corps brass band. They have all and of course I have a band geek now. All my kids are, like I have so many, both of my kids are little musicians and Julia's in the high school band. And so all of a sudden, all these band performances that are happening all over the city become, of interest to her. And so I think probably tomorrow we'll have to go seek out some of the band performances.
They do have the band competition, the high school band competition. I don't know what day it is. I don't know if it was today or if it's this weekend, but you should look into that because that's pretty cool. Pittsburgh and Concord are kind of duking it out for number one, I guess. I guess it's a big rivalry between them. And so, yeah, that would be fun. I mean, I think that's worth a trip, especially to show up to your friends. Harry, hold on. Let's say, go ahead.
I was going to say, we have a high school band competition at the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk coming up.
Ooh,
that's going to be
fun.
It's just in a couple weeks, I think.
Well, let me know. Yeah. Santa Cruz ain't far from me.
Awesome.
Harry said, thank you, Harry, so much for the $5 donation. Happy Friday. Here's for your Medoro mule at the Red Jet.
Yeah.
I'm jealous about your flight. Love you, Harry. Love you. I hope you're working from home. We always have to say that for poor Harry because the commutes freaking suck. On that note, I am back, so I am here today. There is the Red Jack Saloon. You can go say hi to Lori above the bar. And Lori, thank you for the donation for the raffle that's coming up. I have received it. Hopefully you received your email. Square, yes, you're here. I emailed you this morning as well. I know you've emailed me before, but I didn't have your email address saved. And so I've emailed you guys as well. So get your raffle tickets. Let's get that business out of the way really quickly. I could tell, and I mentioned this yesterday, that you guys know that the time is running out. So again, it's our 1-year anniversary fundraiser box. Tickets are $20 each. Go to PayPal. You have to use the email, not the show website. I listened to Kim explaining this yesterday very well. The email. So you go to paypal.com, you log into your account, obviously. And then you hit send. And then that email, the show email you put in, the Nikki Medoro Show at gmail.com. And you can buy as many tickets as you want. And some of you guys are snapping up quite the tickets. And I will be putting in your name all of those times. Now, Kim, I heard you say yesterday.
Uh-oh, what have I done?
No.
I love the idea of you on the way home going, let's listen to my show.
Well, you know why? Not that I don't want to listen to you, Kim, but I'm like, did you talk about this? Did you talk about this? Did you talk about this? This is how my mind goes, right? I'm like, did you talk about this? There's just this past week has been insane, right? And so I was listening to you, and you're honestly, Kim, you're a rock star. I absolutely love it. But what you were saying yesterday about the raffle is what I was going to say. You said I was going to pick the name the day before to announce it on our anniversary on the 17th. And I was thinking, well, should I do it live? And then I'm thinking, am I going to botch it live? And then maybe I should do it on the 16th.
I think we should do it live. But I thought our anniversary was the 16th.
I have it as the 17th. Am I wrong?
Okay. You might be right. I don't know. I thought we started because Mark started on the 12th. And then I remember the day he started, you called me and you're like, should we do something? And I thought,
because, so
I think we should
we
do
started
something
on a Monday, right? I wouldn't have started on a random day.
Yeah.
And so the 17th this year is on a Tuesday. I'm almost positive it was the 17th. I hope it was. Whatever. We're doing it on the 17th because I've announced it.
I'm going back in YouTube world.
Uh-huh.
And looking for the very first Nikki Medoro show. So while you...
Yeah. Okay, while I do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking I want to do it. Yeah, I think it's the 17th because of the earthquake anniversary. I hope it's the 17th for Ricky's birthday. It doesn't matter. We're doing the drawing on the 17th. Whether it actually matches up, I've announced it so many times, but I was debating whether or not to do. I was always anticipating doing it live. So my husband participates in a lot of these online raffles where he puts his name in for certain slots to win stuff that I don't want him buying, but whatever. And so it looks to me like that's a fun way of doing it. So I'm going to practice with all the names and make sure that it's smooth on air. But I definitely think that doing it live is way more fun because then we could go yay and say happy and then the person can watch it. And of course you don't have to be there live to win. It's not one of those things. If you're not watching or you're watching on replay and you can't say, yay, I won live, it's fine. It's fine. I will definitely contact everybody. I have saved everything. I'm so stoked that we're just doing it through PayPal because if I was accepting a million different payment options, I would be inundated, like trying to keep everything straight. So it's through PayPal. I have all of your guys' emails. If you didn't include your email address, and sometimes PayPal is weird. It says message and it won't let me message. So if you haven't, okay, perfect. Okay, good. Square, you got the email. And so I'm really trying. If you have not heard from me, just email me separately, theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com, and I will look for it. I'll confirm that I have the PayPal payment and I'll email you back. And again, let me just show off my very favorite thing right now. I have actually a couple things under my desk. It's like my little desk thing of things I have to wrap is growing. I'm adorable. I like my button. It's big.
Yeah,
okay,
it's
so
really
I don't know if I
cute.
told you guys this when I first showed it off.
You're right, by the way. It's October 17th.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
flag.
Okay.
And you even titled it flagship episode.
Okay, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually bigger. I like it though. I mean, you can see it from a distance. It's bigger than I thought because the company was like, if you wanted to say adorable, you need to make this star bigger. I think it's cute. It's really, really fun. So there is the adorable. This will be in the winner box for the raffle. The very first adorable button. Let's see what else. I just got this. I'll show my address. This in the afternoon. So let me show you. So this is.
There?
I know it's a mystery. So this is something I've talked about before. It comes in handy. I don't want to give things away because it's a mystery. It comes in handy when you really want to kind of separate yourself from all the negativity in the world. That's just a really convoluted way of describing it. What else do I have under? I have all kinds of stuff underneath here. So yeah, the box is definitely coming together. And I have something arriving in the mail today that I got notified. I'll tell you one of the things. There's going to be some gift cards in it. Okay. Well, there's going to be a gift card and then some other things in it. And the gift card is arriving today because I had to order it. I don't know if that makes any sense. So that's going to be in the thing. I was really nervous about the way that I purchased this gift card. I was like, oh God, I hope it arrives. What if somebody steals it? What if it's obvious? So I'm really hoping it arrives in my mailbox because I was talking to my friend yesterday. Shout out to Leah, who watches the show all the time. And Leah was telling me that there is this gift card scam. Now you hear gift card scams where people are like taking the codes and buying things online. I didn't realize, and she said it's gotten so bad at one of the stores that she often goes to that they actually figured it out, checked it before she was able to purchase it and gave her money back. But what people are doing, and you guys really, if you buy gift cards at the store and it's at a kiosk that you just grab it and people can manipulate them, what they're doing is they're buying a stack of gift cards, right? Activating it, and then taking the sticker off and putting it on cards that haven't been activated yet. So that when you go and scan it to put money on it, you're not scanning a new barcode. You're scanning the barcode for the card that they have activated. So they get all your money and then you give it to somebody and there's no money on it. Isn't that crazy?
Tricky. Yeah.
And even if and I mean, how many of us get the receipt? And because that's what I do. If I buy somebody a gift card, I'll take the receipt, I'll cut the little activation code off and I'll stick it in there. You better check that those things match. Because you'll be like, oh, there you go. And they're like, but it doesn't match the same code. So yeah, that's just something to keep an eye on. This gift card, it's not being manipulated. It's coming straight from the place that I want you guys to visit. If you go, whoever wins this box, I want pictures. I want pictures of you using or whatever. I really hope this is the fun part of it. So I'm really, 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 really excited about it.
I have some Nikki Medoro Show trivia.
Ooh, do you now? Okay, lay it on me.
Who was the let's do this. Who are the first 3 people to ever chat on the Nikki Medoro Show?
Oh God, I have no idea. Is that terrible?
No. I mean, why would we have paid attention? We didn't realize what the chat meant or, that it would become, that these people would become so important to us in our everyday life. Yeah, because you guys are important every day.
Is it somebody that's still in the chat today?
Absolutely.
Okay, who thinks that they know? Who thinks they are part of the first people that chatted in our show? Oh, that's funny. And they're here right now.
They're here often. I haven't seen their name fly by yet today.
It's not Jim.
It's not Jim.
Not Jim Slayton, because Jim, I know you've been a long time. I feel like all of you guys have been a long time supporter. Was it Square? I feel like I've seen these names for so long. I don't know. I'm like,
I'll tell you so you don't have to run through them all.
Okay.
Was it Eric? Is Eric was number 2.
Eric, you're number 2.
Eric was the second person to chat.
Oh, who's the first? Oh, what did Eric say?
He said, got this in a second tab while listening to the Mark Thompson show. Don't want to miss Nikki's YouTube premiere. Yeah.
I love it.
Third was Andreas.
Oh, of course, Andreas.
Mm-hmm. He was already on the very first day. He said, exciting day. You go, girl. Everyone help support Nikki with any amount. Go to Patreon and pledge. Keep Nikki's team alive.
Oh, that's awesome.
But
who was number 1?
The very first was Nick Marchetti.
Nick Marchetti?
Yeah, he said, let's go. Now, we have a Nick here, and I thought maybe it was the same Nick, but there's a different last name. So
yeah.
This Nick, maybe we don't see this Nick often, but that was the very first person, Nick.
Nick Marchetti, if you're still listening or if you've changed your name, come say hi. You're our number. That's a Jeopardy question for us, Kim McAllister. So that's really cool. Well, it's been a fun year, almost 1 year. We still have 11 days until our anniversary.
I'm proud of us, though. I mean, that's a
it's an accomplishment
because it's not very much money, right?
No.
And even when you have YouTube's the commercials playing, it's like 0.0012 cents per commercial. So it's not very much.
This is a labor of love, definitely.
Yeah, it's a labor of love.
Definitely a labor. And I will say this. Okay, so one of my I'm not going to share the video simply because it's my daughter and I don't know if she wanted me to. But what was interesting was today the anniversary of the KGO death, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know how many of you follow me. Some of you are my personal Facebook friends. And I remember Marley, my daughter, put up a video where I was taking her to cheerleading. And she was doing this like country voice and like talking to her fans. And it was a really cute video.
I got laid off.
Yeah, I got laid off, remember? And all I keep thinking of Kim is I look at her, I'm like, that's right before she was diagnosed. And I look at her face. And that's what we went through this past year. I mean, there were many times, Kim knows it. I was like, I think I'm done. I don't know if mentally I can handle it. I was breaking down over this. It was, but like between then and now, and she seems to be doing well with this medication and she's put on so much weight. It's her cheeks. It's the cheeks that I see the difference in. And I'm going to have so many memories over the next couple of months that are really going to probably get to me because this was the down. This was the down. This is when we started to really figure out that something was seriously wrong. But that's what we've gone through all together now. You know what I mean? And it's been a lot. And I know that I've since then, gotten the second job in San Francisco. And, it seems that the last couple of weeks they really needed me, but people have been going on vacation. I don't know, what the future is going to hold up there. I love doing that show and I need to do it. I need to do that job. I love doing this though. And I appreciate each and every one of you, obviously Kim the most because she steps in. And can I just say, the fact that you've also done the after party live is just, I just look at you like in amazement. You are an amazing, amazing woman. And I know that you really want to keep doing it on YouTube. I think I messaged you. I was like, as I'm emailing you at 4:00 in the morning, I'm like banging my head against it because it definitely drains you. It really, really does. But yes, happy anniversary, all. Happy anniversary.
I went through a crisis of confidence yesterday, day before, where I was emailing you at 3:00 in the morning because I felt like people were tired of just me. No, and I thought, gosh, should I even do the show when you're gone? Because maybe it's the Nikki Medoro Show and people are coming here for you or us together, not just me. And so then I thought, gosh, should I even do it? And I felt bad that anyway, so then you're so nice to email me back. So thank you for that.
I think I like doing the show together. You saw me during the recording that I did. Yes, it's fun to weigh in and me talk to a camera, but you and our live crew in the chat, that's what makes the show. You guys crack me up in the chat. And don't listen to the haters because believe me, Kim, there are so many people that email me and it's nothing about you and it's all about me and they don't like me and blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, just things that I have to say and opinions that I have. It's the same as KGO. You're going to have your haters, but this is what I always say. Thank you for listening, right? Because if you're here, obviously I'm doing something for you. You're doing something for me. And you know what? I love doing the show. Look what Doug wrote. KGO was so beautiful. I was heartbroken. I'm so glad you guys are still on the air. Kim does rule. Thank you. Yes. Could not agree with you more. And maybe, and I'm just going to say this, and Kim and I will discuss it off air. But I'm just going to preface this. Maybe there are going to be days where there's just not a show, or it is recorded, right? Or it's going to be shorter. Because honestly, Kim, you are a hard worker, and if you need a day off, I think you're finally taking a day off on the 20th, and you're so funny. You're like, well, maybe I'm like, just take the freaking day off. Like, just take.
What's happening on the 20th is
you're on a field trip, right?
Yeah, it's a field trip to the pumpkin patch. And I thought, I hate to, when you get to the point on the permission slip, when you have to check, are you able to come be a chaperone? And I have lately,
always be the chaperone.
I've been checking no because, I'm on the air from 9 to 2. And basically I get off the air and then I go do school pickup. And so I haven't had time, but I thought this might be the fourth graders are going to the pumpkin patch with their kindergarten buddies. And I thought this might be the very last time I have a field trip to the pumpkin patch. And I want to
don't miss it
to savor the moments. So that's why I'm going.
Well, good. And I'm like, and even if it wasn't something like that, Kim, just going to put this on the record. Take days off. I mean, it's not the end of the world, and I can obviously do the show, but I would miss you. Not saying I wouldn't, but I'm just saying you got to take care of yourself, and that's the reason why we do this, is so we can be at the important moments in our lives. So I'm glad that you're doing that. Okay, we're gonna do headlines, but first, Kim, let's welcome our friend that we have not spoken to in a little while. And that, of course, is Emily Hoven with the San Francisco Chronicle. Emily, thank you so much for being on the show. You have to unmute your computer, though. There you go. There's our friend.
Rookie mistake.
Hey.
No, I saw it. I was like, I'm so glad that you're here. You've been busy. I mean, I've been busy. You've been busy. We've all been busy, but you've been writing a lot lately. And I texted you and I was like, Emily, can we talk about this article that you did? And then a little bit further back, you talked about this article. But I'm going to start recent and move backwards because, of course, yesterday was the memorial for the late Senator Dianne Feinstein. And you had written an article regarding Newsom kind of flubbing the replacement. Now, I didn't know much about LaFonza Butler. I mean, obviously, once she's appointed, we learn all these things about her. Talk a little bit about this, because not only are there questions about her residency and stuff like that, but just kind of Newsom's narrative surrounding a Feinstein replacement.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to be back and talking with you and Kim. But yeah, so my issue with the Senate replacement really had nothing to do with LaFonza Butler herself. I mean, I think her qualifications are a separate subject, and I didn't necessarily feel like that was as much a point of contention or of critique. Although it is interesting that she does live in Maryland.
Right.
But in terms of just the way that the governor handled the Feinstein replacement, I really just feel like it kind of highlighted a lot of the flaws that he has as a politician. And some of it has to do with him, always wanting to kind of be out there and make these bold proclamations, kind of way before it even goes into his court of actually having to make a decision. And then he's left later to kind of backtrack and deal with the consequences, because he's essentially painted himself into a corner that he didn't really need to be in. And it makes it, he ends up offending people and then trying to placate them, and then trying to, at the same time do things that he thinks are going to appeal to the rest of voters. And so the whole thing that to me was kind of ironic about this was that, in 2021, so this was 2 years ago, he first commented on the issue of who he would fill the seat with if Feinstein were to resign. And at that point, that was the conversation, because there were concerns about her health, her mental acuity. And, he had recently had to appoint a senator to replace Kamala Harris when she was elected vice president. He chose Alex Padilla, who was the first Latino senator for California. But there were people that, were frustrated that he did that, because they felt that Kamala Harris, I believe at the time she was the only or maybe one of two Black women in the entire U.S. Senate. And so once she left, they really felt like, you need to kind of replace that, because that's the perspective that is, largely not even included in the Senate at all. He didn't. And then later he said, okay, well, if Feinstein's going to retire, I'm going to appoint a Black woman to fill that seat. And that kind of backfired in a lot of ways, because people found it very cynical, politically cynical of him to say something like that when he had already had an opportunity to do that. Second of all, and he didn't. Yeah. And he was also at the time facing a recall election. And many people felt that he was just kind of trying to, placate Black women voters who are extremely loyal Democratic voters.
Let me just stop you right there.
Yeah.
That whole, it seems like a trend of President Biden did it. Newsom's done it. In your perspective, do you think it really matters to voters if he would have never said, I'm going to appoint a Black woman? Do you think he would have lost votes? I mean, there has to be some sort of political bonus to making that proclamation, because I just don't understand why Newsom, Biden, other people seem to do that.
I don't know if there really is a political upside to doing that. I think and this is one of the weaknesses of Newsom, and I think a lot of other politicians, is they can't resist an opportunity to make a statement that makes it seem like they are doing a thing that people are going to like. Yeah. So if someone asks you, okay, let's say hypothetically Feinstein resigns, are you going to appoint a Black woman to replace her? I mean, really, in my opinion, the right way to handle that situation is to say, that's a decision that I will make if it ever becomes time to make it.
Exactly.
You don't go out there presuming that certain things are going to happen, and you don't make promises that you may or may not intend to keep or want to keep or may not even be able to keep, especially when. So I just think that they want to seem like they are, addressing all of the concerns of various factions of the party. And I think that, Newsom, he has a difficult time kind of not making these bold statements.
Yeah.
He just kind of almost like can't help himself. I mean, and he said a very intense thing. He said, we have multiple names in mind, and the answer is yes. So it suggested that he had already been like calculating this and thinking about it. And it just came off as very calculated and very cynical. So that was the first big promise he made. And it's just, he made it in 2021. And then basically, after the backlash that he received about that, he was like, well, I just want to be clear. Like, I don't actually think that anything is going to happen. And I hope Feinstein does not retire. And so it's like, well, yeah, you probably shouldn't have said anything. But then flash forward to just a couple of weeks ago, someone again asked him, hey, like if Feinstein's going to resign, what are you going to do? And he basically said, well, if I do have to make an appointment, I'm only going to make an interim appointment.
Right.
And, the reason that he said that was because he was trying to avoid a situation where he would appoint, because he had already promised a Black woman. The only Black woman currently running in 2024 for the seat is Barbara Lee. But I think the governor felt like he didn't want to swing the race in a certain direction by appointing someone who's running. There's also all these political complications because Nancy Pelosi has endorsed Adam Schiff, who's another Senate candidate. There's all these things going on, right? So,
but let me ask you another question. If Newsom's like, I'm going to put in an interim person, he can't stop LaFonza Butler from running, right? I mean, could he? He doesn't have that power ever, right? I mean, it's just, I want someone to be interim, but that doesn't mean that person just wants to be interim, correct?
Yeah, and that was the thing to me that was actually probably the most ridiculous of all the promises, is because it's actually extremely patronizing to be like, I'm going to appoint a person, but they can only take the job on the condition that I have like randomly imposed, because now I don't want to look stupid because I made promises years ago.
Right.
So, and I don't want to, swing the race one direction or another. And I actually wrote in my column, so after he said interim appointment, again, he got all this backlash because everyone's saying, okay, so you're going to appoint a Black woman because you think that's really important. But now that Black woman can only serve for like a year, and she's doing so under the direction of this white man governor. And so then he was like, oh crap, like actually now I don't have any conditions, like they can do whatever they want. If they want to run, they can run. If not, they don't have to. And in my column, I was like, well, that's so lovely of you that you have allowed permission to like make a decision about her career. Like that's
but he can't, just to be clear, he never was able to decide for that person. If he appointed LaFonza Butler, is there anything like in the law where he says you're only interim and she's like, okay, I have to be interim, I can't run? She could have always run. She can run if she wants to, right?
Made a deal with the governor, then you make a deal with the governor.
Though. I mean, she can rescind on it. Like, I have the job now. Sorry, I can run if I want to.
Listen, I made a deal with the California people that you would be a caretaker only for a certain number of months. So you can't run again. You still interested in the job?
But
right?
He can't say that, right, Emily? He can't say she can't run. That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that, there's like the political negotiations, but I think like in the actual legal reality, I don't think there's anything that could constrain her from doing that.
Okay.
The only thing would have been if he made the appointment, after the deadline to file for candidacy, which I believe is actually in December. So it's
coming up quick.
She still has time to decide. So he couldn't really have done that. But I mean, and so just the entire way he handled that was just really poorly handled, in my opinion. And then he goes and he names LaFonza Butler, who I think, in many ways, she does meet the profile of a candidate that kind of fits all these criteria. I mean, she is obviously someone who was not already running in the race. She's relatively unknown politically. So I think he feels that, she's a strong candidate, but if she were to run, she doesn't have like all these political things that would make it just easier for her to automatically like head into the seat. Like she's a little bit of a electoral outsider, even though she herself has been involved in politics for a long time. But then I did find it ironic that, she has been living in Maryland for a couple of years. And it's true that she did have a really long history of working and living in California. But at the time of her appointment, she was not living in California. She was not registered to vote in California. And the governor's office did not necessarily like preemptively share that information. It was only after, at least the way that I saw it, it was after people started digging around in like FEC filings and things like that and seeing, oh, she's actually registered to vote in Maryland. She's been living there since 2021, according to property records. That they were like, well, yeah, that's true, but she's a longtime homeowner. She still has a house here that she owns. She's going to be registered to vote in California. But it just, for me, I was like, the governor had one job, and he kind of, it seemed like on every single iteration of it, he just did something that put his own foot in his mouth. And so much of it could have been handled by him not saying anything until the moment came. And then when the moment came, being completely transparent about everything, the fact that she's living. And again, it's not that big of a deal because she can move back. She has a history here. I don't doubt that she's going to represent, California, but he gave his critics a huge opportunity, because now you have Republicans saying, oh, this is Maryland's third U.S. senator. Like, you could have avoided these problems by addressing them, but it's just like he doesn't do that.
Right. And then, I mean, was there nobody that was actually in California? Not knocking Butler. I don't, again, I'm learning more and more about her. She seems capable and all that, but it also just seems weird. We are choosing somebody that yes, checks some boxes, but is in Maryland. Yes, she has strong California connections. Was there no one out of the millions of people in California that he could have chosen besides her?
Yeah. I mean, that's another, I think, criticism that a lot of people are asking, because there are obviously, many, very politically involved, influential, incredibly intelligent Black women in California, who I'm sure would have loved that opportunity. Maybe not with the conditions that the governor was originally putting on it, but but yeah, it is interesting. And I do wonder what those calculations were like, because I know that there were a lot of news outlets talking to some of the really prominent Black female politicians in California, like Secretary of State Shirley Weber, San Francisco Mayor London Breed, LA Mayor Karen Bass, many others. And they had all said, we're not interested in the job because we don't like this idea of basically just being kind of stuck in there for a year and then having to leave. But I wonder if from day one, if they had kind of understood that the governor was going to backtrack on that promise as well, if they might have been more interested in the appointment. Because they could have launched, maybe they would have felt more free to launch a campaign and stay in that seat. So it's a very interesting situation. I kind of do feel, and this is just based on my own opinion. It's not based on anything that I've heard from the governor's office, but I wonder if the Maryland decision was a calculation as well, because if she were to run in California, I really, really feel like Newsom did not want to shift the balance of the 2024 election. I think he felt that because he already appointed our other senator, and yes, we did reelect him, last year, but I just think that he was like, I need to find someone who is capable, who is smart, who fits all the criteria that I've already discussed, but is going to have the smallest possible ripple effect on the actual 2024 election, because I don't want to sway that. And maybe having someone who, was registered in another state and maybe has not had as strong of California ties as some of the other people is a way to kind of mitigate any impact in 2024. So that's what
backfired. Because anything Newsom does has ripple effects, I feel like. I also was following a lot of stories regarding the bills that Newsom was signing and the bills that Newsom vetoed, and Care Court is getting underway and all those sorts of things. What is your take on the things that Newsom has? Because sometimes I feel like, oh, wow, he's really, catering to the progressive, flank of the Democratic Party. On the other hand, he does seem to kind of go against the current in that instance.
Absolutely. No, Newsom is definitely he's a fascinating politician. And I think he is kind of balancing a lot of these competing desires. I mean, and going quickly to the Butler thing, I think this actually ties in, because he has vetoed thus far a lot of bills that were extremely high priority for the organized labor movement, which had actually a very stellar year in Sacramento, and passed a lot of bills that even last year did not make it through the state house. And part of that has to do with the fact that we elected new legislators. A lot of them are more progressive than some of those that termed out or left. But he vetoed a bill that would have allowed striking workers to access unemployment insurance after 2 weeks on strike. That was a huge priority, a huge lift for labor. They are extremely angry that he did that. He vetoed another bill, another big priority for them, that would have required a human driver be present in self-driving trucks that weigh more than 10,000 pounds. There's obviously big concern about the safety of those trucks. And then also the fact that, basically they could put hundreds of thousands of, workers out of a job. Newsom vetoed that bill. He vetoed a bill that would have strengthened labor protections for domestic workers, which are, predominantly low income, women of color. Newsom himself has domestic staff, which you can see on his tax filings. That was the second year in a row that he's vetoed that bill. So, and picking LaFonza Butler, who for years was leaders of some of the biggest unions in California, I think might have been a little bit of a bone to organized labor because he did veto all these other bills. And Newsom is interesting because I think that in terms of like business and economics, he is largely, I would say, a pretty moderate Democrat. There are definitely times when he makes decisions that, are more in line with the progressive part of the party. But I think he's also pragmatic about some of these things. And I mean, for example, the unemployment insurance, he had sort of hinted that he was going to veto it because California already has, I think, like $18 or $19 billion in debt in the unemployment insurance fund post-COVID. And post the debacle with the unemployment department paying out fraudulent claims. And so any sort of new strain on that was going to be a big lift for businesses. It's probably going to make a lot of people frustrated. The self-driving trucks, that one is a little bit more complicated, but I think that he really felt like we've got to cement California as the tech capital, the AI capital of the world. He has extremely close ties to tech leaders, like Mark Benioff, who is the CEO of Salesforce, is the godfather of one of Newsom's children. So there's a lot there going on, and I don't think he wants to lose ground in the tech battles. And then he also made an interesting decision. So there was another bill that I wrote about that I thought was kind of one of the trickiest ones for him to navigate, which it would have required family courts to take into account whether a parent affirms their child's gender identity or expression when they are deciding custody and visitation rules. And that was a controversial bill because on the one hand, the lawmaker that carried it has a transgender child, and she was just saying it's very important for kids to feel safe in that environment, and that's part of their health and their safety. That should be taken into account. But then there were people that immediately were saying, well, some Republicans were saying, well, this is the state trying to take away your kid. If you don't agree, they should transition. But then there were also, I think, a lot of concerns voiced around the fact of, is it appropriate for, the executive and the legislative branch to essentially dictate to the judicial branch the types of things that they should be doing? And also what that means is you're going to be leaving an extremely complicated and delicate subject to the discretion of one judge to make these decisions, who are already making decisions, right, about visitation and custody. It's very complicated. It's very delicate. Adding that in there, and I think there were fears it could be manipulated or interpreted in ways that couldn't be foreseen. So he vetoed that. But all this to say that he did anger a lot of members of the Progressive Party and the LGBTQ caucus in the legislature who felt like, they were like, this is California, this isn't Texas, this isn't Florida. So he's had a year thus far with the bill signings.
It's just interesting to watch him because, of course, everyone's like, oh, he's running for 2024. He's going to run for president. I don't think so, but I'm often wrong on these things. Obviously President Biden is running. I don't foresee Newsom trying to take him out or anything like that. And God forbid something happens to the president. So we don't want to say that. But it also does seem like every time I talk about Newsom, I say, yes, at some point he is going to run for president. And then the next thing I always say is, but I don't know if the United States wants Governor Newsom as president of the United States. But again, I didn't think they wanted Trump either. I really hope they don't want DeSantis or anything like that. So he is a controversial figure. And I do wonder if some of these vetoes and the positions that he has isn't to set him up for 2024. It's much further down the road when he can point to something and say, look, California may have a reputation. Yes, I was the governor, but I also am in my right mind to some of these more red or purple areas of the country.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you that I think down the line, he's definitely making calculations and decisions based in part on, on that unknown future. And I mean, I had I had 4 bills that I was really interested in what he was going to do on. 2 of them he already vetoed, which are the autonomous trucks and the child gender identity bill. But the conservatorship bill, which you mentioned earlier, which would make it easier to, compel people into conservatorships and involuntary behavioral health treatment, very controversial. Obviously, the governor has had care court starting to be implemented in some counties, but he's really stressed that it's voluntary compliance. And so obviously this is involuntary. So we'll see how he handles that. But I think it's clear to anybody that there are crises of homelessness and mental health on our streets. Those are going to be in any sort of ad for anything that Newsom ever does in the rest of his life, And then the other bill is a bill that would decriminalize psychedelic drugs. And part of that is some research has indicated that they have positive mental health benefits. But, the bill is not just for use in clinical settings. It also allows the decriminalization of possession and actually growing some of these substances for adults. And so, I think I've actually done a lot of reporting on the mental health aspect of it. I think that's absolutely fascinating and deserves to be studied and deserves to be, rigorously looked at. But I do think that the aspect of possession and growing for just any adult who, wants to, is a lot more politically contentious, because I think given California's drug overdose crisis that we're in right now, and again, like all of the images of people just doing drugs on the street, it's going to be very hard for Newsom to justify that and kind of draw the distinction between a psychedelic drug and something like fentanyl and meth, so I'm really interested in what he's going to do on that bill.
Yeah, I think that the psychedelics, again, I agree completely, 100%. In a clinical setting, what we've read about with with help with PTSD and all those sorts of things, yes, let's research that. Let's make sure that somebody's watching over these people. But I can totally see people growing magic mushrooms in their backyard, doing them and walking in the middle of traffic or something. And I know that that's just the nightmare scenario, right? It's like, we're not talking about weed here, right? We're not talking about people stoned on their couch. We're talking about people possibly, out of their mind on some of these psychedelic drugs. And I do believe that if you're going to decriminalize it, there needs to be strict restrictions on where people can have it, possess it, grow it, all those sorts of things. So I guess I am more moderate or on that side with that. Can we talk now a little bit closer to home and about Alameda County's DA Pamela Price, because this whole thing fascinates me, Emily. It really does, because on one hand, you got to give somebody who was pretty much just elected a chance to do what they were elected to do. On the other hand, it's like she gives no craps about whatever anybody else thinks about it, which is a really fascinating attitude to have given what's happening in the county.
Yeah. So I used to be an Alameda County resident. I'm in Sacramento now, but grew up there. And I recently was back in my hometown of Fremont, and she actually had a town hall that she held at a church there. So my family was like, oh, like the DA is going to be there. Like that would be kind of interesting to go and hear what she has to say. And obviously I had heard and read a lot about her, and a lot of people having kind of, negative reactions to her policies. She's kind of in the vein of Chesa Boudin, the recalled DA in San Francisco, more of a progressive stance, an emphasis on, rehabilitation over incarceration, wanting to get rid of sentence enhancements for many crimes, which those were kind of the impressions I had of her. And then going to see her at the town hall, it was interesting, because I agree, right? Like, she hasn't been in office that long. She also made no secret of the type of prosecutor she was going to be when she ran for election. I mean, she was very clear about, these are the things I believe, these are the things I want to do, and voters elected her. And I mean, it's not as if she pretended to be something that she wasn't. But I think for many people, there's just a glaring disconnect between the concept of a prosecutor and some of these progressive prosecutors, because the types of things that they are saying and advocating for, I think, have typically more so come out of like the public defender's office or something like that, where, you know, there's this idea that people that longer sentences does not deter crime, and so therefore, you know, we need to focus on rehabilitation, and we need to focus on getting people reintegrated into the community, which I think, again, my whole thing is that in concept, all of these ideas sound great. Like,
right.
In reality, like
Hold on, Emily. Let's take off the pictures.
Sorry, I lost control of my clicker.
I was like, why are we looking at hot dog on a stick? Okay, I was like, go ahead, Emily.
I was like, is this some like related in some way that I don't understand?
No.
Beat them with a hot dog on a stick. That's what she meant to say. There you go. Okay, go ahead.
That's so funny. No, so yeah, I mean,
in concept, idea, it makes sense. Like, obviously,
yeah.
The concept is an ideal concept where in an ideal world, you know, it would be wonderful to not have incarceration. It would be wonderful if people could just, you know, get rehabilitated and reintegrated easily. But the problem is that that's not the world we live in. And also many of the folks who are advocating for these types of policies have not really put forth alternative methods or systems or infrastructure to actually make those a reality. And that's an issue that I have with the way the entire state has handled all of these things as well. You know, it said, we don't want mental hospitals because they are, you know, they're harmful to people and there were abuses. 100% true. So they got rid of those hospitals. Okay, but where are people going? What's there to replace it? I personally am not here to argue with the fact that in all of these institutions, there are significant problems. I think in our prison and our jail system, clearly we need to make it a place where, yes, there's accountability for the crime that you did, but there is also a way that you are genuinely participating in rehabilitation programs, and you are prepared so that when you leave, you are able to reintegrate as seamlessly as possible into society. 100% there needs to be better ways to achieve that. But I don't think that means we can just abolish, you know, prisons and jails and all of these other institutions, because the reality is that people are committing crimes, and there are victims of very serious crimes who feel that there is no justice and no accountability for what happened to them. I mean, there were people at the town hall I went to screaming, crying, full of anger, because they were saying that, you know, my grandchild was murdered and the killers, nothing happened to them. You know, I don't know to what extent that is true, but there are people who clearly feel that they did not receive justice for very heinous crimes. And I think then when you have a prosecutor saying, well, we're not going to have, you know, enhancements for certain crimes, so the sentence for the original crime is long enough, I think for a lot of people that falls on deaf ears, because also it's clear California's recidivism rate is one of the highest in the nation. I believe about 70% of people who get out of state prison are essentially back in the system within 3 years. So clearly we're not rehabilitating people well. So if you're just saying, you know, they're leaving and then after a short time, and there's not really that process to make sure that they're getting the care that they need, and they're going to go on to potentially, you know, harm another person or steal something else or do whatever it is, a lot of people feel extremely frustrated with that.
Yeah. And what I find is it's the transition where we find all the problems, right? I mean, just like you talked about, it's fine to want to address rehabilitation and you know, the criminal justice system and all the problems within it, mental health, all that. But you have to create the infrastructure, not just the physical buildings and where to house these people, but the actual staff, how we're going to pay for this, especially in a place like California that's so expensive. So it's going to be a high cost to do this. The return on it could be great if we do it properly, but there's always going to be this really uncomfortable and I will say painful transition when we want to change a system that has been so ingrained in California. So for instance, you know, I know the care court is voluntary, but it's all fine and dandy to tell people and entice them, right? Like, okay, if you've done this or if you need help, this is a program you can go into. What's the program look like? How many people work there? How do we know it's going to be successful? Is it just an idea? All of this thing, that's where my concern is. So I would love if people like Pamela Price and other progressives would say, look, as we try to roll out these reforms, the system that we're currently in kind of has to stay where it is, because we can't just reduce sentences or say we're going to redo rehabilitation and all that if we actually don't even have a better program for rehabilitation. It's fine and dandy. Okay, so you want to better rehabilitate people. How? Where? Who's doing it? Those are the questions I feel like these people should be asking. It's like, and until those are answered and implemented in an effective way, we have to stay with the same system. We can't just let people out and without any sort of reform.
No, that's a great way to phrase it. And I think that for me, this is one of the biggest things that I'm always asking. People are saying rehabilitation, treatment. And I'm like, what does that mean? What is treatment? Because and even our statistics for understanding what that is are so poor. We could say, okay, X amount of people enrolled in a treatment program. Okay, but what is the treatment? How many of them completed the program? How effective was it? What did they get out of that? How much did it cost? How many people were working there? And we've done a couple of editorials at the Chronicle about just the state's abysmal data when it comes to criminal justice and behavioral health. So, I mean, in San Francisco, for example, with all the concerns about those issues, people are saying, oh, we've increased arrests 500%. I made that number up, but you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, but what does that mean though? Because an arrest is simply putting a handcuff on a person and transporting them to the jail. Are they actually staying in the jail? If so, how long are they staying in the jail? Are they getting any kind of treatment in the jail? And if so, is it effective? And if not, how soon are they being released? Where are they being released to? Is it the street? Is it a house? Is it back to where they were selling drugs 20 minutes ago? I mean, these things that politicians are constantly rolling out as proof of success or, saying this is a better thing. These are just like words. They don't mean anything. And that's one of like my biggest pet peeves in general with all this stuff, where it's like, I am not against treatment, but I want to know what that means. Mm-hmm. And I want to know that when you arrest someone, what does that mean? Are they actually staying within the system, or are they going back out on the street corner where they were dealing drugs 2 hours ago? Because we also have policies that relate to arrests and, what actually results in someone being booked into jail, how long they're staying there. It's just, no one knows what they're talking about. And like, that's one of the most frustrating things about this is I'm like, we're all just like screaming into a void because we have no metric or like any definition for any of this. We have no way of knowing if it's effective. So we're just increasing the amount of money we're spending on all of these things, yet none of it seems to be working.
Yeah, but it kind of seems like the more we talk about it, it's not a bug, it's a feature. It's as if they purposely aren't doing this, because I don't feel like any of the things you're asking aren't things that the normal sane person that's in charge of all of these programs or want all this money know that they should have answers for. Like, it's common sense that if you want A, you need to figure out how to implement it, how much it's going to cost, how you measure success. I mean, again, you mentioned Newsom, tech capital of the world. You'd think we'd have people, data analysts, people to crunch the numbers, right? There's people whose jobs are literally to do this.
Right.
So I do feel like it's more of a feature. They want it. I'm not saying that some people's hearts aren't in the right place, but we're a gigantic state with a lot of money to throw around sometimes for certain big ideas. And I just don't know the answer on how we get what Lori is screaming, which is, of course, accountability, right? Like, how do we get accountability for where our tax dollars are going, knowing that if the program or whatever is not implemented correctly, we're not only out of the money, but it could be having a detrimental effect on people's lives.
Absolutely. And I think you're right. It is a question of desires and priorities. I mean, I was talking to a lot of public health researchers who basically were like, with all of the people in San Francisco alone that are day in and day out, their entire job is like using data to understand what people are doing and how things are working or not working. The fact that San Francisco cannot say, oh, this is how many people entered into treatment and how many people exited treatment, and this is the success rate of that treatment, is insane. Yeah. And I do think there is some measure of wanting to not reveal that, because it does prevent fuller accounting of what an official is doing. I will say, I will give credit to the Newsom administration because they are proposing a lot of reforms that are going to be in a ballot measure on the March 2024 ballot that would substantially increase statewide level data reporting in counties that are receiving state money to report exactly, the types of programs that they're spending it on, how many people use them, and they're going to work to develop a metric to ascertain how effective certain things are. This will all take time to implement, but I do want to give credit to the administration because they are at least recognizing that we need to start doing this because we cannot keep doing what we've been doing so far.
Yeah. And of course, even doing that and implementing that, if that passes, is going to take time, which people just don't like waiting for. It's the human nature. I voted for something. I want it to happen like that. I have a new DA. I want crime to stop. I have a new mayor. I want this to be fixed. And it's like, well, we need to give it time to work. But I think there's a lot of mistrust. And I think that it's appropriate to have some mistrust because of what we've seen year after year after year after year after year. So I get it. I love all of your writing, Emily. I'm so glad that we were able to get you back on the show. Thank you for staying and having this long discussion with us. Emily Hoven, she's with the San Francisco Chronicle. Her articles are linked in our show notes. We have to get you back on really soon. I really do appreciate it, Emily. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation. Talk to you soon.
I love it. Bye. Yeah, she's great.
What a treat. I'm sorry about my picture mishap, but what a treat to have her. She's so awesome. I've been reading her articles. Yeah, she really is. And she's, when she writes something that she really goes in depth on the whole thing. Mm-hmm. She went to school on it. She's very knowledgeable with the intricate details of all sides of an issue.
And she is at the San Francisco Chronicle, but she's based in Sacramento. And which is, anybody that has ever been a reporter in Sacramento knows, like, obviously that's where, the lawmakers are. That's where you can find people and talk to them dealing with all these bills and what have you. Just on another note, just a little gossip for you, which it might be inside baseball. I don't know. Have you been following what happened at Cap Radio? What's happening to Cap Radio? No. Now, anybody that know what Cap Radio is? Capital Radio. It's a Sacramento public radio station. They're tied with NPR. They're licensed though. I didn't know this, which I should. I don't know why I don't know this. Apparently, their license is tied to Sacramento State, and Sacramento State is saying Cap Radio has been fiscally mismanaged. They're about to go bankrupt, and it's insane. So Google it. We know people. I know people that either still work or have worked at Cap Radio, the NPR station. They put out some good work.
Yeah,
but
really
apparently,
good.
The higher ups, they moved to a new building near the Golden One Center, which is the big, entertainment area in Sacramento that they built several years ago. I saw a picture of it. It does not look like any college radio station that I ever worked at. I was like, that's nicer than KGO's studio, at least from the outside. So have
you seen pictures of the KQED studios in San Francisco?
I've seen some because we have some friends that work there. I know those public dollars. I'm telling you.
Jeez.
They do make a lot of money. I do listen to NPR and NPR stations, KQED. They're on my dial as well. And they do. I'll say this, though. The public radio model is not anything you can compare to the traditional like KGO, KCBS model. It's totally different. Mm-hmm. They can draw from public radio stations all around the country. You know what I mean? So, and I'm assuming for free, like they don't even have to pay for it because they're within that public radio. I could be wrong about that, but I think I'm correct. So, but yeah, follow that. I was thinking people were going to get fired. They're saying by January, Cap Radio is out of money. Think about that. They have no money
don't they get an infusion of federal dollars?
Something's happening where the Sac State's like, you know what? We're not going to, the president, I think, of Sacramento State did an interview with the SACB, and he was like basically saying, you know where we save money? We don't get the new head of Cap Radio for $500,000 salary. That's not going to happen. This, that, and the other. So it'll be interesting to watch. So that's just a little inside baseball gossip about a station. Can I give some thank yous before we get to your headlines real quickly?
Let's do it.
Harry, of course, started us off with that $5 donation that we called out earlier. Yeah. Susan Roberts, $10. Happy first year, Nikki. It's coming up on the 17th. Kim and your team going on a trip to Belgium, Amsterdam, and the UK. I hope to catch you guys from afar. Cheers to more fun years with you all. Nice trip.
Wonderful.
I've never been to Europe. I've never been to Europe. I want to go to Europe so bad. So I'm very, very jealous. Very jealous of you. And then Ms. Organic, thank you so much for your $10 super sticker. I really do appreciate it. We appreciate each and every dollar, of course. All right, let's do some headlines. We'll have a little fun. Just to let you guys know, Tim Sika is not going to be on the show today. He emailed us. He's busy with something. I didn't quite understand the email, but he'll be here next week.
So it's the Mill Valley Film Festival, and
That's
he's
what
there.
it is.
And I think he's watching a lot of movies, and he's also interviewing people.
Yeah. So he'll be with us next Friday. He'll have all kinds of juicy stuff. But he did mention, because he knows me so very well. So today, I'm going. I don't give a crap. Today is the release of the new Exorcist movie. And guess who's going to go watch it? I hope tonight, if not tonight, tomorrow. So I will have a review next Friday the 13th. Which is so fun. And so I'll be watching it. If anybody else is going to watch it this weekend, we could talk about it with Tim. He said it looks either gory or something. I'm getting the sense that I'm going to absolutely love it. I don't know. So I'm very excited.
These devil movies freak the hell out of me.
I love it. It makes my blood curl.
I have to tell you that was looking for pictures because I have a story about it.
Oh, good.
And all the pictures, I thought, how many minutes can I look at that for?
All day, every day.
Freaks me out.
I love it. And it has to do with little girls, which always freaks me out. Anything to do with kids, like little kids in horror movies,
like
or
Children
like
of
dolls.
the Corn.
Yeah. I'm just so excited. I am so very excited. This is my happy face. I'm so excited. I love scary movies, and I love scary movies that I think are going to be really good. The new Saw is coming out. That got actual good reviews.
I just want a love story. Just give me a love story.
I love love stories too. I love tear jerkers. I love comedy. I love it all. Make me feel something. But I have to say, especially this time of year, October, Halloween, my birthday month, I love to be scared. I was talking mad crap the other day to my friend because her son was being picked up by his friends to go to the Halloween haunt at Great America, and I could not help myself for talking crap about it. I'm like, have fun at the kid-friendly event at Great America that's all scary for everybody. Have fun for taking my local scary haunted house away from me. Effers, damn kids. There's enough stuff for kids. What about us kids that are old and want to be scared out of our bejesus? I hate it, but whatever. Yeah. Okay, so let's do some headlines. When we come back, I have a ton of other stuff to talk about. Click that thumbs up button to show the support of the show. And here's Kim.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
We're starting with jobs this time around. Let's go right to it. Employment numbers are coming in way above expectations in the United States.
They're shocking people. Fox News even said they were shocked. So there you go.
Oh, the economy's not so bad after all,
Thanks to Biden.
The Department of Labor says the total non-farm payroll employment rose by a very robust 336,000 in September. And that's nearly twice as much as had been forecast of 170,000 new jobs. They came in at 336,000 new jobs. So what kind of jobs are these? Maybe they're service jobs, and they're jobs that people that have been laid off from tech jobs don't want, but the jobs are out there. Former President Trump's lawyers are asking the New York State Appeals Court for a pause in his personal business fraud trial. Good luck.
Good luck, buddy. You are not special. Like, go away. Just go away.
Can I just put a pause on that? No. The last-ditch move comes after the Manhattan Supreme Court judge overseeing the $250 million civil trial issued a series of rulings yesterday that clear the way for a sell-off of the Trump business empire. This is where the rubber meets the road. You know, the court of public opinion is much different than the actual court of law.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. It's as if he does not understand that. I just keep laughing about it. I really hope. And they're not going to put up with his nonsense just because he wants to stand in front of cameras and bitch and moan and say it's a witch hunt, blah, blah, blah. Okay, whatever, dude. You still have the court case ahead of you. So good luck.
Speaking of Trump, he is now saying that he wants Ohio Republican Jim Jordan to be the next Speaker of the House.
Can you imagine? We go from bad to worse. This party is insane. Jim Jordan, The guy that let that, that was caught up in that teacher sex abuse scandal for not reporting stuff. Jim Jordan sucks. And I'm going to say this for all the friggin' GOP that complain all the time about John Fetterman and his shorts. Jim Jordan never likes to wear a jacket. He always likes to roll up his sleeve to act like he's an asshat. And whatever. That's my thoughts.
This picture makes him look very obsequious. And look how Trump shakes hands. Like the other person has to reach in and he'll pull you close to his body.
He probably pulled the hand. I'll bet you like 2 seconds before this was taken, he reached out and then he pulls it in. He's like, "You're with me."
You're with me,
You're with me.
Trump endorsed the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee in a post on Truth Social this morning. So far, Jordan and House Majority Leader Steve Scalise have entered the race to become the next speaker. I think
Steve Scalise has an edge because of the whole shooting. What about you? Yeah, I think he might have a little bit of an edge.
United Auto Workers president will address a possible expansion of their strike against the big three automakers later today. The president has spoken. President of the UAW, Sean Fain, has spoken the last 2 Fridays to announce new additions to the ongoing work stoppage. He'll make the announcement on Facebook Live today at 2 p.m. Eastern, so pretty soon here, right? Extreme weather. Here's my extreme weather picture for you. Look at that. Water spouts, lightning strikes.
Ooh, I like it.
It could, extreme weather, displace millions of children over the next 30 years. That according to a new report from UNICEF. It found more than 43 million child displacements over the last 6 years, or 20,000 displacements per day, were linked to extreme weather-related disasters. This guy is no longer with us. Authorities are investigating the death of former USC gynecologist accused of abusing hundreds of women. Name is Dr. George Tyndall, and he was found dead at his home in Los Angeles this week at the age of 76. The cause of death, still unclear. At the time of his death, Tyndall was free on bond, but was facing criminal charges of alleged sexual misconduct between 2009 and 2016 at USC's Student Health Center. The university ultimately agreed to an $852 million settlement with more than 700 women who had accused Dr. Tyndall of sexual abuse.
Can I just add something? I'm listening to this podcast, and it's, oh God, I should give you guys the name of it. But it's this podcast about Columbia University's, and there's a gynecologist there. I don't know if anybody is listening to this. It's like a Dateline type of thing, I think, or like along that vein. And there was a doctor, Kim, who, when women who had, there was the story of this woman, she just had a baby. And like when she was pregnant and would go to him, he was kind of inappropriate. And then, okay, brace yourselves, people, because this, literally, my mouth dropped open. Normally a nurse has to be in the room with a male doctor. And she was about to leave after her postpartum check. And he's like, "Oh, I didn't check your stitches." And the nurse had already left the room. And makes her lay down again. Brace yourselves, people. This is another warning. Makes her lay down, put her feet up on the stirrups, and then takes the paper, and pulls it taut so she can't see. Dips his head under and licks her. Exactly where you think he licked her, he licked her.
Oh.
And he finds out that he's done that to so many other pregnant women. I don't know what the hell is up with people like this, but it's disgusting. Disgusting. So anyways, that's my gross story. Yeah.
Like, what do you
and
even
Columbia's
say?
Covering it up. Columbia University's hospital was covering it up for years. So many women. I'm still listening to the podcast, but yeah, so many women have come forward saying this doctor was doing that to them. Can you imagine? Because again, and I know there's a lot of women that watch the show, damn well, you're very vulnerable in that position. You are giving up a lot of your own personal privacy and space to a doctor you're supposed to trust, similar to this asshat on our screen.
He's also right near your feet. And so there's a swift kick right in the face.
Well, yeah. And then because you can't technically see it, right? I'm sorry. If I was in court and I was like, any woman knows the difference between a speculum, a finger, and a mouth. Okay. So no. So yeah, it was really, literally I'm watching and all of a sudden she just says it and my mouth could not have dropped. The audacity, at the very least, the audacity. But anyways, sorry, had to throw that in.
A California Central Coast Christian school, if you guessed, refuses to let its boys football team play against teams that have girls on the roster. You would have been the winner. Valley Christian Academy's policy is that boys are not allowed to touch girls in school, and that extends to contact sports like football.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. In August, the school settled a Title IX sex discrimination lawsuit over its policy. 2 months later, the school is forfeiting games for the 4th straight season. The school, it's not new, does not have an issue with non-contact sports like baseball, basketball, and has in the past played teams with girls on the roster. But football...
How do you tag somebody out in baseball if you don't touch them?
Right. Or basketball.
Right.
Talk about contact.
Or the hallway with your damn arm around your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. Stop it. They're just
not
making
at
up
Valley
this
Christian.
rule.
You don't. Mm-mm.
Whatever.
I think it's a Baptist church and school.
I'm just also going to say this, Kim.
Yeah.
No, just because it's a religious school. As someone who went to religious schools, there is some hanky-panky going on. So let's just stop with this assumption that no, the school doesn't allow it. Really? Have you ever heard of something being taboo and then even sexier? Come on.
Here's the picture from earlier.
You made me hungry for a corn dog. I swear to God. I was like,
An iconic Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk business is closing down. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not the only place in Santa Cruz that sells hot dogs on a stick, but that's the hot dog on a stick, right?
A hot dog on a stick will be shutting down after nearly 90 years.
Why?
Sisters Allison and Laurent Twisselman found out last week the Santa Cruz Seaside Company won't renew the business lease for family-owned Twisselman Enterprises, which opened Hot Dog on a Stick in 1934. The Seaside Company operates all the rides, games, arcade, miniature golf, and several merchandise locations there on the boardwalk. And so, let's see. Twisselman Enterprises operates Hot Dog on a Stick and 3 other food concessions: Boardwalk, WOK, World Grill, and California Wraps and Bowls. The Seaside Company will take over operations of all 4 businesses starting next month.
So what does that mean? Does that mean that they'll still have hot dog on a stick? It's just the Twisselman or whatever won't be able to operate it?
It seems like Hot Dog on a Stick is closing because I think that's a franchise. So you have to pay the franchising fee. And if you're not the owner of the franchise, you can't just slide in and take it over.
Because you can get corn dogs other places on the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk. It's just not called Hot Dog on a Stick. It's called a corn dog. Like you could buy a corn dog, right? So you could do that. Interesting. I know exactly what that is. I mean, obviously it's right in front of the Dipper, but yeah.
As you were talking about earlier, look at this picture with the Golden Gate Bridge in the backdrop.
I know.
Bay Area aerial enthusiasts are getting a chance this weekend to check out one of the most popular squadrons in the world. The Blue Angels take flight today, tomorrow, and Sunday. It's all part of Fleet Week Airshows around San Francisco. Residents and tourists are booking boat tours and tours of Alcatraz, trying to find the best place to see the Blue Angels show. The Blue Angels take off at 3 p.m. for each of the next 3 days.
Last time we went, we sat on the lawn in front of Ghirardelli Square, right there. There's a lawn right there. We sat there, and it's interesting. It's always hot. Every time I've gone to the Fleet Week, it's always been hot in San Francisco, and it's hot. I'm telling you, yesterday when I was in San Francisco, given the temps at 11 in the morning, 12, it was 82 in San Francisco. October in San Francisco is summer. It is gorgeous. It's just, you cannot beat San Francisco in October. I mean, if you don't like the heat, you probably hate it. But if you're like me and love it, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Just bring your sunscreen because it's going to be hot.
Bring your sunscreen. And you know what? What I heard is, and I'm not sure if it's the Blue Angels or another squadron, because Senator Dianne Feinstein is the reason we have air shows during Fleet Week in San Francisco, they're doing a missing woman formation. And for some reason, that got me so choked up yesterday.
Yeah, so the missing woman formation is all of them fly, and then one kind of separates itself from the pack. It's really sweet. And the whole Dianne Feinstein thing, I was saying this yesterday, a politician because you've grown up, watching and following some, but when they pass away, all these more personal stories come out. And yeah, it's just, and it's also the passing of a certain type of politician that I think a lot of us miss. We say we want someone that works across the aisle. That was Dianne Feinstein, and many, oftentimes at her detriment, and to take criticism from her own party, she worked across the aisle. So I just read an op-ed, I think it was in SF Gate, about how they're like, oh, she's being, honored and everyone's speaking so highly of her. What about the last, year or a couple of years, when her health was failing? I would hate to be judged completely on my passing by, on my missteps or decisions that I made that people didn't agree with, or my health or something like that, especially for a woman who spent decades in Washington. Did she do everything right? No. Should she have run for re-election? No. She shouldn't have, in my opinion. She should not have. But she did. And it is what it is. But I don't think that, as it's been a week since her passing, that we need to kind of vilify the woman. I don't think it's fair as well. So
lastly,
I mean, my happy place.
This freaks me out. Exorcist Believer is off to a scary start at the domestic box office. The film made just over $2.8 million yesterday from Thursday previews. It's expected to make between $30 and $36 million in its first weekend.
It'll get my dollars.
Mark the best opening for the franchise ever.
Yeah, they moved it again. I said that they moved it because of Taylor Swift's next Friday, I think Taylor Swift's movie is being released. So I was gonna say, I will say this is how big of a scary movie fan I am. I would see Exorcist over Taylor Swift if it was competing. Absolutely, hands down, I would see The Exorcist. I love it. I love it.
Scary. This show is crowdfunded, which means we do rely on you. Please find us at the website, thenikkimedoroshow.com. The Patreon link and PayPal links are there, and we appreciate everything. So I'm Kim McAllister. This is the Nikki Medoro Show.
There you go. And again, get your raffle tickets, the PayPal link. Just go to paypal.com, hit the send button, and then they ask for an email. The email address for the show is thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. Tickets are $20. If you win, I will personally deliver the box to you if you're within 50 miles or so of San Jose. Basically, you have until not this Saturday. I'm going to say next Saturday, because then Sunday I can get everybody, make sure, check and double check everybody's names and how many tickets they bought are in there. And yeah, I think I'm going to do it live. I'm going to practice.
Are you going to put them all in a fishbowl?
No, well, there's actually an online computer, or maybe I should do it that way. I've been typing it in. Well, I have a list. I haven't put it in any sort of thing, but the computer that will do it for you. And so I was thinking of doing it live, but maybe a fishbowl, the old kind of way is doing it. You like that?
I do like that. Yeah.
Now you're going to make me take a pen and paper. All right. All right. I'll do it. That would be fun, though.
I like the visual choosing.
I am really excited to do. I'm really curious on who's going to win, right? I know it's Ricky's birthday. That would be awesome, but I'm not putting my thumb on it. I'm really, really excited. It'd be awesome if it was Lori above the bar, Dan, Dresser. Like, that would just be, like, so many of you who have been such supporters. I want each and every one of you to win. Unfortunately, there's only one box. So, but it will include the button. And you saw that it lights up. Look how bright. I mean,
oh God. That's like if your car broke down in an emergency, there's a beacon for you.
Exactly. So it does the quick one, it does a slower one, and it stays on, and then it turns off. So if you're ever somewhere and you need a light, you can use the Medorable button. That's the first one. It's going in the box. And I hope, I wish all of you could win. Oh, Lori, thank you. Nice. $20. She got on light. Thank you, Lori, for the $20 donation. You guys are awesome. Thank you.
That's Lori from the Red Jack.
Yeah. Lori above the bar. Thank you. And that's where you can get the Medorable, the Moscow, the Medoro Mule, the Martini, and the Kimikaze. Go in there. There's something for everybody with that list of drinks right there.
They're so nice. Thank you, Lori.
Okay, so we were talking about Di-Fi passing away. You know who else died? Do you know who else died?
Dick Butkus.
Dick Butkus. That is a name where you just have to really think about it when you say it, right? Dick Butkus.
Butkus.
Somebody posted this video. I just want to show it real quick because he's with the Bears forever. He's iconic in the football world. but somebody shared this video, and I love it because Dick is right at the end. It's an old video. So here we go. Watch this video. Hold on.
On the extra point, Bobby Douglas recovered and threw to Dick Butkus for the singleton.
Just hands it to him. I can only imagine what Dick Butkus said when he handed that guy the ball. He's like, "Here you go." The guy's like, "A-hole." You know, he was totally pissed off.
I love the music.
Yeah. And honestly, like the helmets, it was such a different game, right, back then. So just, rest in peace, Dick Butkus. Speaking of sports,
John's like, it's butt cuss, not butt kiss. Butt cuss.
I'm saying butt kiss because it's funnier. Dick Butkus. Sorry. He can't get mad at me for saying it.
Butkus. He was 80 years old when he passed away.
I know. I mean, a long life. So, yeah. What do you think? And I'm not a huge basketball fan. I don't watch. Okay. I don't watch basketball that much unless the Warriors are in it and they're doing something great.
Yeah.
But the Warriors are getting a WNBA team. I was announced yesterday an expansion team. First WNBA expansion in 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's exciting. I will say this. They need to choose a really cool name. I don't think one ESPN reporter said that the name is likely going to be Golden State. No way. You can't have the Golden State Warriors and then just Golden State. I think that's lame. I think that's lazy and they should have a better name than that. There's one, SF Gate had a bunch of ideas. Okay, let me, if you guys read the article, you'll know what some of these are. I'm going to read them to you, Kim. You tell me if you have a favorite.
Okay.
The Seals.
No.
Okay.
Although that does harken back to San Francisco history. The Giants were originally the Seals. So I get why, but no. Mm-mm.
Well, I think all of these are that's what they are. The Painted Ladies. I don't like anything that has ladies in it or gals or any. I think that's so patronizing. I don't like it.
Painted Ladies, though, are a pretty big icon in San Francisco.
Yeah, but I don't. Okay, this one it has to do with kind of women.
But it makes them sound like hookers and ladies of the night. The Painted Ladies.
I didn't even think about that. I just kind of feel like ladies is just too on the nose that they're a WNBA team. But I kind of like this one, the Riveters.
Like Rosie the Riveter?
Yeah, I kind of like that. The Riveters. It doesn't sound
powerful.
Yeah.
I like it. Yeah.
The Lasers, the Pioneers. And then this one I kind of like because it's not but I don't know why when I read it, I was like, ooh, the Fog.
That's not bad.
I kind of like it.
They seep in, they cover you up.
Yeah, the fog's coming in. You can hear they'll have the fog horn playing when they do something.
Fog surrounding you. You can't get away from it. I'm with the fog. I like the fog. The fog and the Riveters. The Riveters has a good historical context, but the fog.
Yeah, the fog sounds pretty cool. How many of you think that it's going to be successful or even close to the success of Golden State Warriors, the men's team? I mean, that's really what they're real. The Bridgettes. Ooh, but again, that whole Ets thing, I don't know. I just feel like it's patronizing. It's like, I know we're women, so we have to be at things or something. How about the rainbows? No. I like the Fog. Yeah. The Riveters and the Fog get my vote.
The Riveters, the Fog for sure.
Yeah, right? I think that it's kind of cool. Now, I don't know if I played this for you guys before, but I want to just play it again because I hope that they do take this piece of advice because I want the expansion team, the WNBA expansion team, to be successful. And this was Shaquille O'Neal's suggestion on how to make the WNBA more popular. So here it is.
What's that? 10 years ago, the WNBA game was here. NBA game is here. Now it's here. I have a way to make it equal. Just listen to me now. You ready?
All right. We've heard it. Yeah, we've.
So in beach volleyball, the women's net is maybe half an inch lower. You think if we just lower the rim so y'all could dunk like we dunk, that'll give y'all more oomph than you already have?
No.
I mean, because listen, y'all are doing the step back, the pull back. Y'all doing everything we're doing, but I don't see a lot of people going up with two hands and, back.
Oh, it's coming. Opportunity is
So you don't think if we just drop it to 9, 10 and a half?
I guarantee
Flash?
Layla, she's into dance, but my next child will be drop step dunking. I promise.
I'm still thinking about that move
Telling
that
you.
Coop used and stationary in and out to the pull up.
So what do you think? Do you think that Shaq has a point there? I think that if you see women basketball players dunking as often as you see male NBA players, that's what makes it exciting, right? I mean, when you saw Michael Jordan flying, literally, it looked like he's flying. I mean, all the way from back here, flying, and then dunking.
Yeah.
Boom. Iconic.
The look on her face was like he was patronizing her.
Yes.
And he was like, move the rim down. And she's like, whatever.
But they're not as tall.
Yeah.
Women are not as tall as men. They're just not. So, again, we can kind of go back to the differences between men and women. The ball size and the hoop height should be adjusted to the reality of who is playing, I feel like. It doesn't mean it's less than, but I do think it can be more exciting. I don't know. I kind of like the idea,
Some more names coming in. Sean is saying, what about debutante?
No! You just doing that to get under my skin. Actually, though, that's kind of clever, though. I will tell you, Sean,
debutantes.
The debutantes. That is clever. I'll give you definite points to clever, but you can't be you can't do that. The unicorns.
The smashers, as for like patriarchy smashers. I don't know.
Smashettes. No,
I like where you're going with that.
No ets. I'm saying no ets. No ets. The unicorn, though, you know what I also like about the unicorn, even though it does sound kind of girly, is that in the tech world, right, unicorn companies are a thing. So I could see it kind of playing into the whole reputation of the area. So I could see that. Yeah, Lori says, good point. Check the average heights over the league and adjust proportionately. I don't see the problem with that. Make the game exciting. The whole point of sports, besides playing, which fulfills the desire of the players, of course, is to make money and to get people to watch the game. Yeah, female basketball players dunking, making these amazing shots because of the hoop is proportional to the average height of female basketball players. I don't see any problem with that. The Pride Amazons. Ooh, the Amazons could be kind of cool.
Although that's fog. If they don't pick the fog, I'll be disappointed.
There you go. See, I like the fog, right? I thought that was a really good idea. So we'll see what happens. The owner was saying, you know what? I'm not even going to even try to put my thoughts out there because I'll be wrong and people will come at me. So he's like, I'm not saying anything. We have not come up with a name and we're not doing it. John says, I don't watch the WNBA, but maybe I'll start now, not because of dunking or anything, just because. I'm going to push back on that, John. I bet you dollars to donuts that if they start dunking and it's exciting and you're seeing clips online, that it'll draw you in. I'm not saying it's going to be the only reason you watch. Maybe you just want to support the whole expansion team and things like that, which I 100% agree with. But if I start seeing these amazing shots by women in basketball, hell yeah, I want to tune in.
John's also saying it's maybe less the dunk and more the three-pointer now is what made basketball more popular, with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson changing the game.
Yeah, but don't you also think that three-pointers are becoming, not that they're not amazing, but it is becoming more common to see the dunks, though. Because what the dunk is. Not only is it amazing to see it, but then just kind of like the falling, the pushing, the flying, like it's the whole act of it and then the come down of it that makes it so exciting. So it's more than just making an amazing shot that Steph can do so often. It's, you're going through and it's just, I don't know. It's great. And I think that makes the whole, and everyone gets to their feet.
Lori wants to know how Riveters is related to San Francisco or the Bay Area. We have the Rosie the Riveter Museum in San Pablo. And so this is kind of the home of where, a lot of these factories putting together equipment for World War II were located. When you talk about making ships and making airplanes I'm not sure about airplanes, but I know ships for sure. Yeah. And they were riveting in the East Bay. And so there's a whole federal museum actually dedicated to that in San Pablo.
So there you go. I'm hoping for a very good name. I'm really looking for a very good name. All right. I know that it's Friday, and I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did not eat anything today. I didn't have anything to eat. I was looking yesterday And I was like, okay, what National Food Day is it? Do you know what National Food Day it is today? Oh, I'm actually stoked about. I am. I'm hands down stoked about it. It's National Noodle Day.
Oh,
so anytime
I love a good
love
noodle.
me a good noodle.
Yeah.
I looked yesterday, like, were any of these? So there's a bunch of places that are having, discounts, coupons if you're part of the reward club, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So Fazoli's is a buy one, get one. That's an Italian restaurant on a small fettuccine Alfredo or a spaghetti with marinara or meat sauce. I was talking to someone who just can't stand white sauce, Alfredo sauce. I don't understand that because I love Alfredo sauce. But if you like those types of noodles, you can do that. What else? Momofuku. They do the dried noodles and like chili crisp sauces and stuff like that on their website. They're doing some sort of deal where you get 10% off. There's also Noodles and Company. So this is a restaurant that I was tempted to get food from, but they don't open until 11. So a lot of the noodle places, they're just not open right now. So I can't get anything. I was going to make noodles, but I'm like, that's not fun. So that's why I didn't do it. I was just going to talk about food today.
I really like, if I'm going to a Thai restaurant, the drunken noodle. Have you?
Yes,
had
that's my
drunken
favorite.
noodles?
That is my favorite. I mean, besides green curry from Thai restaurants, drunken noodles, extra spicy, like the clean out your colon spicy. I am down. I am down.
See,
I'm telling you.
I think drunken noodles are the big fat ones that are thick.
Ones.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely gonna have noodles today. So go get your noodles. For lunch, I can eat noodles. I make myself. This is what I make myself almost once a week, if not more. I make that peanut sauce that I've talked about before with the peanut butter and the red pepper flakes and all that. I make that, and I stopped using ramen noodles. So I know, did I tell you this about how terrible ramen noodles are? Do you want to know why ramen noodles are so bad for you?
Why?
And it's not all ramen noodles. You can get, I think, ramen noodles like air dried, but it's because ramen noodles are fried first. That's why they're so terrible for you.
That's why they taste so good.
Yeah, but so what I've been doing is I've just been getting angel hair pasta, because angel hair pasta, like a serving of it, is so much better for you than the ramen noodles. And it really, angel hair pasta.
Are you talking about like ramen noodles that come in the package?
Like
the
cup of noodles.
package?
Like, yes,
Yeah.
those noodles. That's what I'm talking about. If you compare that to angel hair pasta, and then I get the angel hair pasta that has protein in it. Or I'll get the vegetable. Like, I'll just get whatever thing I can add to it that's better. And that's why they taste so good, Harry. They're fried first. I Googled it because I was looking at the nutritional facts on it. And I was like, why are these so bad? And then I Googled it. It's because they're fried first. And then they're dried out and they put it in that freaking package. And then you just hydrate them again in the water. And that's why they're bad. So I make it with angel hair pasta. Angel hair pasta, peanut noodle sauce, either leftover chicken or shrimp or something like that. But no, today I'm going to get some drunken noodles right across. I just had it actually, though. I had drunken noodles like 4 days ago. I was starving. So I was hangry when I ate those. I just swallowed it all up. But it's really, really good.
Better, drunken noodles or pad thai?
I'm not. I will be totally honest. I'm not a huge pad thai person. I will. I like pad thai, but no. If I.
Oh, you went away. Well, hopefully she comes back in just a minute. But I'll tell you, I like it all. Pad thai, drunken noodles. But I'm unlike Nikki. I get everything very, very mild. I actually, interestingly, wanted to bring up a story to Nikki, although she's still talking about noodles. Are you there? There you go.
What happened? Was I stalled? Was I frozen?
Yeah, well, all of a sudden the screen went black and the little spinny thing of death came on.
No,
and you
I'm
went
back.
away.
I still wanted to talk about food. Yeah, a cup of noodles takes 2 minutes, by the way. Sorry if were you talking about something else? I apologize.
No. But I do have a story that I want to throw at you.
Okay, I'm just gonna say that yes, cup of noodles takes 2 minutes, but and I know the boiling water takes a long time, like however long your stove is. But angel hair pasta, if you get the right kind, it only takes like 4 minutes. 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, come on. We're not talking about a light hair to save some calories. Okay. That's all I wanted to add.
Yeah. This story is completely unrelated to food.
Okay. But lay it on me anyway.
This is, and the whole premise of this study is like, let's freak out the animals and see what scares the crap out of them. This is done in South Africa. Scientists in South Africa have discovered that wild animals are far more frightened by human voices than the sound of lions. In a recent study, searchers planted speakers at watering holes around Kruger National Park that played recordings of people talking. They say nearly all the animals at the watering holes became extremely frightened by the sound of human voices and ran off. In contrast, they found the animals were much less frightened by recordings of roaring lions. They added some of the elephants even began searching for the lions. Like, where are they? What's going on?
Well, humans have guns, right?
Yeah.
I think the animals are catching on.
They're
that
no
we're the
fools.
problem. Like they're like, that species over there, they're pretty assholes, right? Like, no, they're gonna kill us, they're gonna shoot us, they're gonna eat us. We're at the top of the food chain. That doesn't surprise me, actually.
Can you imagine being in the academic, university or whatever that decided to do the study? Hey, I got this idea for a study. Let's scare the crap out of the animals.
Oh,
what do you think's going to scare them more, us or the lions? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they lose that bet, right?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I guess it's us. Yeah, that's
Look how awful we are.
Did you also see that scary story? Speaking of kind of animals and insects, about how people around the Bay Area are getting globs of baby spiders falling on them from the air?
I can't even believe. I can't. That story. I mean, it makes you want to stay inside for the next month.
You know what sucks is like everybody's walked through a web right before, and now every time I walk, because it always happens to me when we're taking the garbage cans out, because there's like a bush and then the house on one side, and so it's like perfect for spiders to kind of, and then you just walk right through it. Now I'm gonna think that there's creepy crawlies all over me, and for someone who likes to be scared, I don't want to be scared in real life. I don't want spiders on me. So apparently this is the time.
The spiders are falling from the sky.
Yeah. It's baby spiders. It's tiny
raining spiders.
Clumps of spiders because they're traveling. What's happening is the baby spiders are leaving because they don't want to share the resources with their siblings. And so there's one on a silken strand, but then too many are leaving. And so they all clump up, and then the clump goes, bah, and then all these baby spiders fall on your head. There you go.
You make it sound so cute. It's not. It's not cute at all. Unacceptable.
And they're so tiny, and we're so scared of them. Like we could literally just wipe them away and kill them, but we're like, it's so scary.
Sometimes I'll open my front door, and a spider will be dropping down on a web, and if you weren't paying attention, you'd walk right into it. Yeah,
I mean, but again, like it takes a stomp to if that's what you do, or you can like cup it and take it.
I don't want it on me. No,
yeah, I don't want it on me either. It's like I'm itching now because I'm like, I think there's something in my hair. But yeah. No, it's terrible. A Guinness Book size black widow in my shed yesterday. No, I'm assuming you killed it. And I know that people hate that. They're like, it's not, I would hope that if I was in the wrong spot that someone would be kind to me and just move me away. Yeah, no. Sorry, if you cross my path and
you're not
that was
moving
your
a black
first mistake.
widow. No.
No, thank you. Oh, Kim says the place I'm dog sitting has these massive spiders and webs all over the yard. I thought they were dangerous, but there's something called European garden spiders. I've walked through a couple of their webs already. Ew. Sorry. I mean, I know they're probably good for like growing things and they take. There's a food chain involved here, so we can't kill all the spiders. That's not a good thing.
I don't mess with them if they're outside where they're supposed to be.
Yes, just don't cross my path.
Just don't be in my space. Then we have a problem. Yeah.
Exactly. Can I do one more quick food story? It's actually a food story.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes I'm like, is he one of my children? Because I saw this and I was cracking up. Now, apparently it's true. He maintains it's true. I don't fully believe it, but they do say knowingly. So maybe that kind of gets the little caveat of it being semi-true. You know who Al Michaels is, Kim?
Yeah.
He's a commentator, like a sports commentator or whatever. So he was being interviewed and he says that he's never, ever eaten a vegetable.
Is it true that you have never knowingly eaten a vegetable in your life?
That is true.
That is true.
I was born when my parents were 18 and my mother hadn't even read Dr. Spock at that point. So she just let me have the run of the course. And I always pushed the vegetables away. To this day, no. And I guess what I've proven, Chris, is that man does not need vegetables to survive.
But is it just possible that you would like, I'm thinking of one of the more non-objectionable vegetables, a carrot?
Oh, please. Please.
A carrot?
No, that's an objectionable vegetable.
I mean, really? What? I mean, how would you know? You've never tasted it.
I look at it. I just don't even like the look of it. And I surmise what it might taste like in terms of the texture of it. I think a lot of it probably has to do, it just doesn't look like something that would go down well.
I love Al Michaels. I think that's the funniest. He's like, and I love how he viscerally reacted to a carrot. He's like, oh no, God, no, not a carrot.
So what does he eat? Is he like an all meat diet?
Meat, noodles. I don't know. I mean, he looks like a pasta eater. I don't know why I'm thinking that. And he doesn't look like he's extremely overweight. He doesn't look young either. So obviously he's lasted. I don't know what his blood work shows, but
a little kid palate. Like mac and cheese and hot dogs.
God. Yeah, that's what Kim's saying. Like, what the heck does the weirdo eat? Mac and cheese, like a 6-year-old. Yeah, Al Michaels is a football commentator. He does that constantly. He's iconic.
I was struck by something he said though. Because his mother was young and didn't know what she was doing, he was given basically the run of the house or allowed to eat whatever he wanted.
I bet it was just kind of like, oh well, he doesn't want to eat it, so I'm not going to force. Maybe she didn't eat vegetables. I can't imagine.
He sounds like kind of an entitled ass. I'm just gonna say.
I just thought it was funny because
there were no rules for you, pal, I guess.
Like, nope, you don't have to eat it if you don't want to eat it. I will say this, as a kid growing up, I mean, my parents obviously had vegetables on the table all of the time. Sometimes they forced me to eat them. There's one memory I have of them making me eat cooked peas, like, the little tiny ball peas, not like sugar snap peas or something. And they were just gray, green, and gross. And I was like, oh God, to this day, unless it's in like fried rice and they're crisp green bean, peas. I mean, peas, I don't eat peas. I don't like peas at all. But I did not really start regularly choosing to eat vegetables until I was an adult. You had to force me to eat vegetables as a kid. You just had to.
Isn't a potato a vegetable?
No, it's a root vegetable, or it's a tuber.
Vegetable.
It's a tuber. Is it? I don't know. Is it a vegetable? It's like a starch. I don't think a potato is a vegetable.
It is a starch, but I think it's a vegetable.
A vegetable.
And I don't think my potato.
It should be considered a vegetable. That's what somebody says.
Yeah.
It's a starchy vegetable. That's what they say.
It is a starchy vegetable, but I mean, I don't think I could live without potatoes. Mashed potatoes, French fries.
Oh no, I love potatoes. We just had potatoes. I don't make potatoes a lot. I make rice a lot because my daughter loves rice, and my son's gotten into rice a little bit. I like corn. Corn is another starchy vegetable.
That's right. Love it. Love corn.
I love corn. I like broccoli. I like cauliflower. I like eggplant. I like zucchini. I like these things. Now,
I love a roasted
kid.
carrot. There's this restaurant in Petaluma called Central Market, and they have this appetizer, and it's this roasted vegetable tray. And you wouldn't think that sounds good, but they're all these really special, like, I don't know, little heirloom baby carrots and things, and it comes with this sauce. You can make vegetables going down taste amazing.
Oh, and especially roasted. Once I learned the heaven that is a roasted vegetable.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's now my stomach has not stopped growling since we started talking about food. Okay. Stay on YouTube. Kim McAllister is going to be moving over to Mark Thompson's show and then doing the after party live because she's the hardest working woman I know.
If you guys aren't tired of me already.
No, I will be back on Monday, so don't worry. I will be here on Monday. We didn't get to a bunch of stuff. There's a parenting issue. There's a video that just made my blood boil that I was not able to get to today, so we're going to get to that one on Monday.
I can't wait for that. That's going to be
good. OMG. I can't stand it. Okay, so we'll be back. Again, you guys, click the thumbs up button. Please sign up to be a Medorable, theNikkiMedoroShow.com. Our Patreon link is there. You choose whatever amount you can afford one time a month. We really do appreciate you. We need the consistent monthly money. We'd like to get that amount up, please. And of course, get your raffle ticket. You need to get your raffle ticket by not this Saturday, next Saturday, so you can win a box of my favorite things. The PayPal email that you have to send it to, theNikkiMedoroShow@gmail.com. Go to PayPal, log into your account, hit send money, and put in that email address, the Nikki Medoro Show @gmail.com. You can buy as many $20 tickets as you want. Your name will go in that many times. And we really do appreciate you guys. We love you. We love you. We love you. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. You're proud, like a beautiful blossom. You're also the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.